Yeah.
When pushed to their breaking point, humans are capable of astonishing things that you would never thought of possible.
Yeah.
Listen to In the Wild as they explore the most heroic, terrifying, and phenomenal stories of real people who survived the unsurvivable. Learn what went wrong, what went right, and how you can make it out alive if the worst case ever happened to you. In the Wild podcast reviews on Apple include Love Your Podcast from Laura. It's scary how relentless nature can be. I always enjoy this podcast at work. It keeps me on the edge of my seat. Or how about we go with Hiker 0001? Good stories and good narration. I like when there are sound effects that add to the ambience of the story. In the Wild podcast on Apple Podcasts and everywhere you get your podcast downloads.
Broadcasting across the nation from the East Coast to the West, keeping you up to date on technology while enjoying a little whiskey on the side, with leading edge topics, along with special guests, to navigate technology in a segmented, stylized radio program. The information that will make you go, Pull up a seat. Raise a glass with our hosts as we spend the next hour talking about technology for the common person. Welcome to TechTime Radio with Nathan Mumm.
Welcome to Tech Time with Nathan Mumm, the show that makes you go, technology news of the week. Show for the everyday person, talking about technology, broadcasting across the nation with insightful segments on subjects. Weeks ahead of the mainstream media, we welcome our radio audience of 35 million listeners to an hour of insightful technology with a little whiskey on the side. I'm Nathan Mumm. Welcome to our show today. We are live streaming during our show on 5 of the most popular platforms, including YouTube, Twitch TV, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. We encourage you to watch us live or visit us at techtimeradio.com during the week. You can also tweet us during our show at #TechTimeRadio, and we'll do our best to respond to your tweets on the air. If off the air time, we'll make sure to add them in the next show. You can also check out our new TikTok channel by looking for TechTime Radio on the TikTok app. I'm your host, a technologist with over 30 years of technology expertise, working for Fortune 500 companies across the country. My co-host here, Mike Roday, is an award-winning author originally from Arizona. He's a human behavior expert living in the Seattle area with a master's degree in forensic psychology. Mike helps me from geeking out while providing an insight into human behavior and how it interacts with technology. We are two friends with different backgrounds, but bring the best technology show possible every week for our family, friends, and fans to enjoy. Welcome, everyone, to the show. As you can see, Mike and I are both remote. We had a little weather incident here in the Pacific Northwest, and so when it gets half an inch of snow, everything shuts down. So we are in studios today. Hopefully, Mr. McCurday, how? Oh,
I'm doing fine.
You're doing fine? Okay, perfect.
I'm doing fine.
How about we get ready? Okay, good. How about we start today's show?
Let's do that.
Now on today's show.
All right, today on Tech Time with Nathan Mumm, Netflix theater strategy pays off. We're going to be talking about this. Astronomers worldwide are having trouble with a new cell phone tower that's been constructed in space. And would you pay a subscription fee to increase the acceleration in your car? Twitter's competitors are all about to come to market. Finally, we have a special Christmas gadget segment. Well, China claims youth gaming addictions in its country have been resolved. In addition, of course, we have our standard features, including Mike's mesmerizing moment, This Week in Technology, and a possible Nathan Nugget if we have time. As always, we have our pick of the day whiskey tasting during the commercials to see if we select our whiskey. It'll either get a 0, 1, or 2 thumbs up at the end of the show. So sit back, raise a glass, and welcome to Tech Time with Nathan Mumm. Now it's time for the latest headlines in the world of technology.
What's happening in the world of technology? This is our top stories in the first 5 minutes.
All right, story number 1, Musk feuds with Apple over Twitter advertising. We have our reporter covering this breaking story.
Today, Elon Musk has once again been going viral on his own platform and others. This time, he's stirring a fight with none other than Apple. Now, Musk says Apple has halted most of its advertising on Twitter and asked the company, quote, if they hate free speech in America. He even appealed directly to Apple CEO, asking, what's going on here, Tim Cook? He also went on to accuse the company, threatening to remove the platform from its app store. He did not say why, though. Elon Musk, meanwhile, has been blaming activists for pressuring advertisers and has talked about Twitter seeing a massive drop in revenue already. He said in the past that he wants to make money for Twitter by turning it into a paid subscription service, with a relaunch of its paid verified services due Friday, of course. But for now, the vast majority of Twitter's revenue still comes from advertising.
All right, so here we go. Isn't this the subject of every tech
I
time?
don't know. I'm tired of hearing about this stuff.
You're trying to hear about Musk or Elon Musk? You know what? Here's what I'll tell you. We are going to have him on the show just briefly, hopefully not too much today, but he's just all over the world with what he's doing with Twitter. So here we got Apple versus Twitter. Now, let me just tell you, Apple is the largest company in the world. They have the most dominant legal teams. They have the most area. They're in the process of possibly purchasing Walt Disney Company right now. I mean,
Amazon was the biggest company.
Well, no,
how did that happen?
Well, Apple is considered to have the largest company in the world based upon their overall IP. So I guess it's probably, if you do employees and shipping boxes, it may be completely different. But Apple is the big area. Elon Musk, Twitter is not that big of a company. And we're going to be talking a little later in today's show about a couple companies that are actually coming up to compete with them. So I don't know what he's trying to do by deciding to pick a little fight with Apple. That is the last person that you want to be sending text out. And this is what he's got posted. I'm pulling up his thread right now. And again, Elon says Apple has mostly stopped advertising on Twitter. Do they hate free speech in America? Why would you put this stuff? And his tweets back to him are like, no, they don't hate America. They hate you. Short answer is, guess what? They don't want to deal with you, Elon Musk. He is not getting the support.
The problem here is that these folks live in a whole different world than we do.
And what world is that? The Elon Musk world?
Yeah. Rich people are the only people in the world that can modify their world to support their delusions.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't get what he's trying to do. And of all the companies to pick on, Apple is probably not the company that you want to be picking on. All right, well, I think we got story number 2 here. Mike, I think you got something from space because you're our space guy. What do we have going on here?
Well, astronomers worldwide are troubled by the new cell phone towers in space. An international group of scientists is concerned by the brightness of a huge satellite, which has been recently launched. The sprawling new satellite was built to connect directly with mobile phones on the surface, but it is brighter than most of the stars in the night sky. The offending orbital object is AST SpaceMobile's Blue Walker 3, which was launched on September the 10th. But its 64 square meter array of solar panels, that would be 693 square feet, array of solar panels and antennas was just fully expanded earlier this month. It isn't just Blue Walker 3 that concerns astronomers, but rather the fact that it serves as a test model for a constellation of over 100 so-called bluebirds the company aims to launch as part of its plan to build a network of satellites to provide 5G connectivity from orbit to Earth, or quote-unquote cell phone towers in space. Blue Walker 3 is a big shift in the constellation satellite issue and should give everybody a reason to pause, said Piero Benvenuti, director of the IAU Center for the Protection of the Dark and Quiet Sky. The problem is, as our technology clutters up our upper atmosphere, our ability to view the universe is going to be obstructed more and more, especially with things like Elon Musk's space Starlink plans and all this other stuff.
Just think if you are looking to the stars back in the olden days when they had pirate ships and people out there, just think if you were navigating now without a GPS in the boats with all these satellites up there. Most of them are so bright they actually look as if they are stars themselves, right?
Yeah, well, you can see a satellite crossing the sky now. You can look up and see a satellite crossing the sky. The more light pollution is a huge problem for astronomers. That's why you see these big telescopes being located in very remote places, because those are the only places that don't provide so much light pollution that astronomers can see the skies anymore. It's getting worse and worse. And this is just one of the many problems that's going to happen the more we put these things into space.
That's right. That makes sense. All right. We ready for story number 3?
Sure. Move on.
Here we go. Netflix theater strategy pays off. Let's listen to Jason, our film critic for Tech Time, as he explains how Netflix might be a contender with movies now in the theaters.
There's something to be said about how Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery, is performing. Netflix, much to the chagrin of Knives Out fans and probably even the executives over there at Lionsgate, they decided to only put the movie in theaters for 1 week before it goes to Netflix. This one, man, this is a game changer for Netflix. And I really wonder if it's a game changer because of the whole idea of quality over quantity. So watch what's going to be happening with Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery, because that, I believe, is going to be a litmus test for how Netflix and other companies can take streaming content and make it something that actually works.
All right. So you saw, I'm sure, the first movie, Knives Out, right?
Yes, I do like, yes.
All right, so Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery. We were talking about this last night on our Tech Time production meeting, right? One of our workers has actually seen this. Did he say he saw it twice in the theaters, or did he only see it once?
I don't remember if he saw it twice. I know you saw like Spirited like 8 bajillion times. So
Spirited. We were talking about the Christmas movie. I love that movie. So Knives Out, Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery, earned $9.2 million from Friday to Sunday, outperforming the releases from Disney and Steven Spielberg. And this is a Netflix essentially produced film that is going to be streaming on Netflix. But what Netflix has decided to do is to put it in for 1 whole week into the theaters. Very easy to do. You don't have to worry about tons of advertising. You can advertise it within Netflix yourself. They had very few commercials, and they had a limited run on the movie theaters that are actually participating, and they'll let Netflix essentially do this. They're expecting to have $15 million by the end of the 7-day trial period. The Wall Street Journal is reporting and seeing the film in person that it felt special, and if Netflix success continues to work, it will encourage streaming services to release more movies in the theaters before offering them online. So let me ask you that: would you go and see a movie if you know you have it on a streaming service coming on out a week later? Would you rather see it in a big theater, or would you wait yourself, Mike?
That always depends on what the movie is. If it's something that I want to watch, I want to go and get the big screen experience, I'll go to the movie theater. But if it's something that's like, well, maybe it'll be good, I'll wait till it comes out on Netflix. I do that now.
You do that now. You pick and choose.
So let me go to.
All right, story number 4, we're going to be talking about Spider-Man 4. So is this a movie you'd see in the theaters, or would you wait till you got this out on your streaming service later?
This is probably something I'd wait for.
You'd wait. You're not a big Spider-Man fan, huh?
No, I like Spider-Man.
But you just would wait to see it.
I probably wait till it comes out on the streaming service.
All right. Well, so Spider-Man 4 could be whipping into theaters as early as mid-2024, according to multiple industry insiders. Reliable Marvel movie leakers include Tom Smith and the Cosmic Circus. Alex P. claims Spider-Man's 4th Marvel Cinematic Universe flick will be swinging into cinema sooner than you think. The duo source Spider-Man 4 is being fast-tracked by Sony Pictures, the studio that owns the rights to Spider-Man films and TV content, with the viewing suggesting to be in production early 2023 with the hopes of a quarter to 2024. So think of it as April, June, or maybe right before that 4th of July weekend. This will make the final entity into the Marvel Phase 5 movie area. So, I mean, Marvel's coming out all over right now. There's Black Panther. I think it's been the #1 film in the theaters.
Yeah, Wakanda Forever is doing very well.
Yeah, Black Panther 2. So they got that going, and they got a bunch of things that are coming on out. So Spider-Man, it's interesting though. Here's what they're saying. They do not know if the web slinging duo will be back with Zenda, who's kind of the main character. I think it's actually Tom Holland's like serious girlfriend. If she is going to be a part of it, or if John Watts, who is essentially Zendaya. Did I say Zendaya?
Said
Zendaya.
It doesn't matter what you
Okay.
said. You said it wrong.
Okay, Zendaya. Okay, so she is not returning yet, and neither is John Watts, who is the essentially the main producer of the shows, has not come on back or been signed for the fourth film. So there's some concerns that they may have a completely different storyline. So I don't know. I kind of like the last Spider-Man 3, so it'll be very interesting to see where they go from here now that they went back in the
see
time.
if Sony stops listening to Marvel. Like
you think they're going to come on? I mean,
before.
they've been really trying to get essentially their own spin-offs without having to go through the Marvel brand for saying yes or no on what they want to do with Spider-Man. But I don't know if that could be a good thing or that could be a bad thing too at the same time, right? I know that they really want Venom and Spider-Man to get together. I know that they're trying to get that storyline, so maybe that will be Spider-Man.
Yeah, Sony hasn't had a lot of success with the Spider-Man franchise, even though they were one of the first to put those out.
They haven't. All right, well, moving on. We have our segment up next, what we found on the web, with Mike and I going to be talking about some special items that we're going to have a little bit more deep dive into, not of our top stories, but other with items that we found on the web that we want to kind of dive into and dissect a little bit. Then we're also going to have Nathan's Christmas tree gadgets. I got 3 gadgets on Kickstarter that I'm very, very excited about. And one of them is the ultimate gift to give any man that you want. So you're going to want to wait for that. That's the last one we're going to do. And then we have the 12 Days of Twitter Miss, back by request. We have a remix of that. So, when you create such a popular song in the industry, you have to do a remix. So we'll be listening to the remix a little later also. But right now we're going to take a break so we can taste some of our beautiful whiskey. We'll see you in a moment. You're listening to Tech Time Radio with Nathan Mumm. Hey, Mike, I'm looking for some help writing our blog post for Tech Time Radio.
Well, you should try Phosphor AI. It's an online service that will save you hours of work with your content creation. Simply type in your title and their AI software will get to work writing a high-quality original article for you. You'll need to review the article and take 15 to 20 minutes to make necessary edits before publishing, but you'll get free articles just for signing up, so you can try out the service and see how it works for you.
How many articles do I get free?
I already said you get 3 free articles. You should listen when I'm talking to you. Phosphor AI pricing is very reasonable for the quality of content that you'll get.
Why waste time writing the content yourself when you get Phosphor AI to do it for you? Visit them online today at Phosphor AI. Again, that's PHOSPHORAI.com. Welcome back to Tech Time with Nathan Mumm. Tech Time Radio is a weekly hour technology show that talks about current technology in a simple format without having to geek out, brought to you by myself, Nathan Mumm, and Mike Renee. We just had our first whiskey tasting during the break, and now let me tell you about what we were sipping in our pick of the day. During the show today, we have chosen the JTS Brown Bottled 100 in Bond. It's 100 proof, $13.99. So this is a Nathan nugget price here. The brand was named after John Thompson Street Brown Sr., who together with his half-brother George Garvin Brown opened a wholesale liquor business that later became the Brown-Forman Corporation. The brand eventually developed into Heaven Hills, a company founded in 1935. For inexpensive bourbon, it surprisingly has an oily texture and is a brown sugar explosion with cinnamon, remnants of butter popcorn, and delightful taste. The company is Heaven Hill, distilled in Louisiana, Kentucky. It's a straight bourbon, aging at least 4 years. It's 100 proof, good old kick on there. The mash bill, 78% corn, 10% rye, 12% malted barley. What are you thinking about this so far, Mike? What do you think?
So far it's okay. It's got a quick flash at the very beginning, but it's got a nice flavorful finish.
It does. It really hits you hard, right? So when I taste it, I'm like, oh, this is going to be horrible. And then I let it sit there for a little bit, and as I swallow it, I'm like, well, this has got a great finish. If it just wasn't so tangy at the beginning, you wouldn't be able to worry about it. So, all right, well, we'll see if we give it 1 thumbs up or 2 thumbs up or no thumbs up. I know that Odie in the studio does not have a glass, so we're going to have to just hopefully tell her how great it is so that we can bring some to her when we see her next. All right, well, now that we got our whiskey out of the way, we're going to move to our next segment, what we found on the web.
What we found on the web.
All right, Mike, would you pay a subscription fee for your Mercedes-Benz to increase acceleration?
Well, first you have to ask me if I would buy a Mercedes.
Okay, well, would you buy a Mercedes
and then pay a subscription fee for whether I want heated seats and heated steering wheels?
Yeah, we talked about that on the previous, right? So that wasn't Mercedes that was doing that. That was essentially, who was it? Was that the?
I thought that was Mercedes.
No,
Wasn't that Mercedes?
it was another premium brand. So this is the first time Mercedes come on out with this. So
Okay.
essentially, this is what we got: the Mercedes-Benz.
Let me say
EQS.
that. Let me say that I would be almost more willing to pay for more speed than other stuff.
Then heated seats. Okay, that makes sense.
Almost.
Or the Mercedes-Benz EQS 4500 is one of the cars eligible for an acceleration boost.
That would be
Mercedes-Benz is offering an online subscription service in the US to make its electric cars speed up quicker. For an annual cost of $1,200, excluding tax, the company will enable some of its vehicles to accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour a second faster. It comes after rival manufacturer BMW, that's what it was, offered a subscription feature earlier this year for heated seats. We talked about that on the show, and we're like, oh my gosh, you got to be kidding. That was heated seats and heated steering wheel. That's right. It will be available to purchase in the U.S. on the Mercedes-Benz EQ350, and the EQS 450 vehicles, as well as their SUV counterparts. According to Mercedes' U.S. online store, the feature includes electronically increases the output of the car's motor, as well as torque. As told, it estimates that this amounts to 20 to 24% increase in output. Now, shouldn't they just have this by default? I mean, if you're buying a car, isn't the whole idea you're supposed to get the best features from the car?
Look, these people want to make money. So if they're going to withhold something that can speed up my car and then make money on the back end, isn't that what makes business sense?
I don't know, man. I got a problem with it. But guess what?
I have a problem with it too. But
okay.
I mean, the fact is I don't regularly drive premium cars, so I don't have people offering me subscription services for BS things like this.
For this. So currently right now, to go to 0 to 60 miles per hour, it takes 6.2 seconds. But with this $2,000 upgrade, you can now get it done in 5.2 seconds.
Yeah, that's a lot of money for 1 second.
Most people are up in arms because you pay a monthly subscription fee for a phone or for broadband. You're paying the company to supply and maintain a data network, not basic functionality.
Yeah,
this is
ridiculous because everybody's moving to subscription services because overtime subscription services get them more money than flat fee services. You know, next thing you know, we're going to get a subscription service to get our mail delivered.
To get our mail. And if you want it delivered on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, it's going to be $10 a month.
They're going to call it USPS Plus.
USPS Plus. And then if you pay for the cheaper version, you only get it on Friday, right? So you just get the mail once a week. All right. So Mercedes is asking for you to pay for hardware that's already installed in the car, and which is presumably already made a profit margin when you bought the car itself. Trying to leverage even more profit out of subscription services is a new trend for high-end automobiles.
Yeah, this is just a clunky way to gouge you for something that's already in the car.
Well, listen to this. Toyota in December of 2021 announced that it would charge some drivers $8 per month to remotely start their cars.
Wow.
Using a key fob.
They've been talking to Elon.
And in 2019, Tesla introduced Acceleration Boost, which makes its Model 3 vehicles accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour, only a half a second faster for a one-time fee of $2,000.
See, this is what I'm talking about. This is the kind of stuff that, you know, these folks are throwing out there in order to we need more money. Give them money.
Right. The acceleration increase subscription is listed as coming soon on the Mercedes storefront. Just think, soon you may also have the opportunity to get faster brakes. So instead of hitting on your brakes and having your brakes work in a millisecond, you could have 100 milliseconds faster for $2,000 a month also. All right. Well,
I don't know.
That's just crazy. I don't know. This is just, I guess if you,
I think, you know, it comes back to this sort of, I think it's a bit delusional.
It is. So let me talk. Speaking about delusional, do you see those commercials during the holidays where all of a sudden this gal wakes up and she goes outside and they have a car parked in the driveway, and then like her boyfriend or husband has another car parked right next to it, and that for a holiday gift, would you ever want someone to go out and lease and buy a $40,000 to $80,000 vehicle times 2 for a Christmas morning gift? That'd be a nightmare for me. If that happened to me, I'd be like, what the heck are you doing?
I do that all the time.
Okay. All right.
I pay a subscription fee for it.
All right, here you go. Well, this is going to be an interesting one up your alley here next, Mike. What do you got?
Well, China is claiming that youth gaming addiction has been resolved.
Oh, wow.
Screen time has been in short supply for young Chinese gamers. I don't know if you know this, but young people in China have curbed their addiction to video games, a report says.
Really?
The claim is made by the China Game Industry Group Committee, affiliated to the gaming regulator. It may raise hopes officials who once attacked video games as spiritual opium, and may soften the country's severe gaming restrictions. Since August of 2021, children have been banned from gaming for more than 3 hours a week.
3 hours a week is all you get, huh? In China?
That's and I don't know what their age of child is, meaning, in the US it's 18 or younger, you're considered a child.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's the same thing in China, but the gaming sector was also hit with a freeze on official approvals for new titles. As part of a wider crackdown by the Chinese authorities on the country's enormous technology sector, which includes giants such as Tencent, which is one of the world's biggest video game companies.
Mm-hmm.
The report was co-authored by data provider CNG, which included 75% of young gamers who now played for less than 3 hours a week. Chinese game companies, including Tencent, have achieved remarkable results, quote unquote, it says.
Okay.
The Chinese government has blamed rising gaming addiction among young people for rising myopia, which is poor eyesight,
okay,
poor concentration, mental health problems, and sleep disorders. Concerns about
let me just tell you, a person at the age of in my 50s, all of these poor eyesight, concentration, sleep disorders, those all just ring a bell. So maybe it's a never mind. Okay, continuing.
Are you a video game addict?
I guess I must be, because I must have all of those. So I'm just like, oops. Okay.
You might just have all that stuff because you're getting old.
Oh, that could be too. All right.
Or you just have ADD. Yeah.
Okay.
Concerns about screen time. What?
What's that?
That's
right.
right.
ADD.
Squirrel.
So there you go.
Concerns about screen time were heightened by COVID lockdowns and the switch to online learning. Following the gaming restrictions, Douyin, I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, China's version of TikTok banned under 14 seconds from using the platform for more than 40 minutes. Under 14s, I'm sorry.
Okay.
So kids 14 and under from using the platform for more than 40 minutes a day. But with winter coming and another surge in COVID cases in the country, children are spending more time at home again, and some parents have allowed them access to their accounts to keep them entertained.
So that's kind of breaking the rules there, right? You give them access to an adult account. Does that mean that they're really only spending 3 hours, or is dad now spending lots of time playing his games?
Well, I don't know. I think it's very interesting when these stories come out and it talks about how China is addressing the gaming addiction thing, when China spends a lot of money hacking games and paying adults to do DDoS attacks against gaming platforms. And there's an active Chinese gaming community that get onto games and play the games as you would normally do, but they do it in a manner which makes it hard for other people to play the games by griefing and trolling other players. So it's an interesting duality that they're presenting here.
So are you telling me you don't maybe believe that 3 hours a week is being the difference in these children's lives?
Well, first off, I don't know if what they're classifying as addiction is what we would normally classify as addiction. Because if it's true addiction, they're not changing anything by putting all these restrictions on it. Because addicts will always find a way to get what they need.
Sure.
Secondly, this is more about the social system of China than it is about actually fixing anything. Okay, China has comes out all the time saying that the things that affect societies in the rest of the world don't affect China. You know, like when COVID first hit the scene, China said, no, we don't have it at all.
Yep.
All the things that we do keep COVID out, and they reported no COVID cases for the majority of the pandemic. So they always have this kind of mask that they throw out that they have everything together. And
that's just the way their whole nation is too, right? I mean, it's just
this rings sort of the same way to me. That this is just another mask that they're throwing up that's saying, we have a solution that cures addiction, and it's governmental control. Which that sounds a lot like, fascism or anyway,
complete dictatorship, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and they're a communist nation, so they don't operate the same way as a democratic nation does.
That's correct. All right. Well, do we want to go on to the next story? This is going to be up your alley again here too. So we got Twitter alternatives popping up all over the world. So there is at least 8 new companies that all say that they have a Twitter alternative. So
this happens all the time though.
That with social media and when somebody's failing, everybody likes to jump on as quick as they can and try to say, hey, we are an alternative. I mean, the Trump social network was going to take out Facebook, right? Because they were going to be there. And I don't know who uses that now, but I know that their usership is very limited. But here we go. I got at least 2 of these that you may want to at least sign up on a list if you want to get your special name. I mean, you have a special name that you use for your online handles, so you may want to at least reserve it now, Mike, in case one of these actually pop up and become the new Twitter.
Yeah, because I'm just a social media mogul.
Well, hey, here you go. The first one is Blue Sky Social. That's Blue Sky Social. It's a new rival of Twitter. Now, the Twitter founder, Jack Dorsey, is in charge of Blue Sky Social app. So he was the creator of Twitter. So if he's putting some time and effort to create a social media app that he says is going to be an equivalent to Twitter, there's probably at least has enough interest of people to take a look at. So essentially, they're describing their social media project as a rival to Twitter. It challenges existing social media platforms like Snapchat, Facebook, and Instagram. Last week, Blue Sky announced the roadmap of its decentralized social network protocol. Now, we talked about this with Mastodon, which is also a Twitter competitor out there, which people are jumping on to, and then they're jumping off as quickly as they can because it's so complicated. It does take a lot to configure, but they're all using this decentralized social network protocol.
This is just a normal human response to anything that's new. Anytime a new restaurant opens up down the road, what happens?
Everybody shows up.
Everybody shows up. Everybody tries it out, and then the business kind of drops off to what's called a baseline.
Yep. Well, the decentralized social networking protocol relies upon other servers to be up in place to make it work. So there's a lot of positives to this. This is really going all the way back to the Napster idea. When you used to share files on Napster, if people don't know what that was, it was a music sharing protocol. But essentially, I would share my machine out to the world when I was sharing my media on Napster, and then other people would have their computers and they would share their media to the world out there, and everybody was connected in through software, but hosting that information on their machines themselves to store it. This is the same thing that Blue Sky is doing with their decentralized overlay. What it does is it does make it more secure. It does make it a little bit more open source, and it does make it so that one bad, evil empire doesn't necessarily control everything that goes on. Now, the sign up is at https://bsky.app. So it's Blue Sky as bsky.app. There are over
BSKY.
BSKY.app, and only Jack Dorsey would come up with some type of crazy name like that. But you know what? BSKY.app, if it gets popular.
Why not? Why wouldn't it be Blue Sky? I mean,
That's right.
Twitter is blue, and they have a blue bird as a mascot. Why not have a blue sky for the Twitter to float around in?
Well, make sure you sign up now, because there are over 30,000 people currently on the waiting list to
but that's not a big number when you're talking about these things.
It's not, but you know what? It at least has Jack Dorsey sponsoring it and is leading it, and they're hiring developers for it. So at least, you know what? That is the person that created Twitter. So he probably has a good idea of what he wants this application to be, and he has been successful previously. All right,
Okay,
now
well, let's see.
Here we go. The next one we have is Post News, another Twitter alternative, but it has funding now that came in from A16Z, a huge hedge fund supporter for technologies. This is the hedge fund that does support for companies like Adobe, Microsoft, and so this is a big player in the space when these companies were starting out. It seems like Post News launched overnight, and that's because it did. Unlike Mastodon, Hive Social, or other existing social networks being flooded with dissatisfied Twitter users, Post News emerged 2 weeks ago. The platform was rushed into a live beta since its team wanted to go public in a time when the chaos of Elon Musk's Twitter leadership was forefront and center. Post News has some similar basic functions to Twitter. You make posts. You like the post, you repost other people's posts, and you follow interacting accounts and interesting items. Yet it's in beta stage. It still lacks basic functions like DMs, so direct messaging, a native app, and accessibility features like adding alternate text and images. So the company says that it's not prioritizing accessibility at this time or additional functionality.
Of course not.
It's just working on the basic function. So clearly this is probably an incubator idea. It's probably 6 months in, and now they're trying to get their app out there. And if they're lucky enough and people can grab onto it, then they're hoping to get into that Twitter frenzy. Now, the platform describes itself as a place to access premium news content without subscriptions or ads. This is something that you've always wanted, isn't it, Mike? You talk about this. You want to get those news articles without having to pay for those journals and those other items.
Yeah, and we've talked to people who have that available.
Yep. So this platform is supposedly going to siphon through that information and make it available for everybody to have without subscription or ads. News publishers and independent writers are encouraged to share their post on Post News under a paywall. The idea is this would allow users to pay for individual articles and different news sources, but not have to get the information from other places. It's an alternative, a supplement, and the paying individual subscriptions would be able to add additional news sources. So if you visit right now, post.news, again, none of these are .com. You got .app on Blue Sky, and now Post News is post.news. We added our email address, TechTime Radio, to the waiting list. We're currently 217,469th, a little ahead of the people on Blue Sky. All right, well, that ends our segment, What We Found on the Web. Up next, we have This Week in Technology, so that would be a great time to enjoy a little whiskey on the side, as we'll be doing so during the break. You're listening to TechTime Radio with Nathan Mumm. See you in a few minutes. Hey, Mike.
Yeah, what's going on?
Hey, have you ever heard of turbo debt?
No, what is that? Something to get me into debt faster?
No, turbo debt is not to get you in debt faster. It's to help you get out of debt. Do you have over $10,000 in credit card, personal loans, medical, or payday loans?
Of course I have debt. That's the American way.
Au contraire, mon frere. Turbo debt will give you the option to break the debt cycle and start putting money in your pocket.
That's awesome.
Over 70% of Americans die with credit card debt. Do not let this happen to you. Turbo debt will give you an option to break the debt cycle and start putting money in your pocket.
That's awesome.
If you have over $10,000 in credit card debt and personal loans, medical, or payday loans, they can help. Go to turbodebt.com/techtime. Again, that's turbodebt.com/techtime, all capitalized, for a free consultation today. TurboDebt is a proud sponsor of this week's episode of TechTime Radio.
And now, let's look back at This Week in Technology.
All right, we're going back to December 3rd, 2001. The inventor, Dean Kamen, unveils the Segway self-balancing battery-powered vehicle on the TV show Good Morning America. The Segway uses computers and motors in its base to keep itself upright while the user is riding it. Users shift their weight to control the Segway. While not considered a commercial success, the Segway has definitely become a familiar icon of personal transportation. The original Segway model featured 3 speeds. And guess what, Mike? You didn't have to pay for a subscription service to get them all.
Well, I know that was way back in the day.
That's where they just gave them to you as a part of the plan. All right. The 3 speed settings were 6 miles per hour, 8 miles per hour with faster turning, and 10 miles per hour, which proved to be too fast for the machine itself. Steering of early versions were controlled using a twist grip that varied the speeds of the 2 motors. All right. Have you ever ridden a Segway?
I think I rode one once.
I did one once too, and it was a very odd feeling. You have to lean forward quite a bit more than I expected. Now, you know what happened to the Segway owner? Poor individual.
Did he become a mall cop like Paul Blart?
Yeah, I didn't. No, I got on for about a minute and a half, and I moved forward and left and right, and it just did not feel too natural to me. But you know what? If you're in downtown Seattle or major metropolitan areas, you can see people all the time on Segways doing tours. I see those all the time. And you know what? I'm in my car. And have you ever had that video game urge when, they go across the deal just to maybe move your car a little bit and just to see if you could knock 1 or 2 of them over like dominoes? Hopefully not. So, but I tell you,
Death Race 2000
thing. That's right. Yeah, that's
okay.
Exactly right. All right. Well,
didn't the inventor actually die from
a
Segway accident?
Yes. So essentially the individual went off a cliff. So he was unable to have his Segway stop on the correct amount of time in speed. And it was not a faulty incident. He just was kind of pushing it a little too much. And it ended up going off a large area, and he fell to his death.
Well, okay. He segued that really well.
That's right. Well, you know what? You got to be careful of that 10 mile per hour speed. All right. Well, that was This Week in Technology. Have you ever wanted to watch some tech time history? With over 2 years of video, podcast, and blog information, you can visit techtimeradio.com to watch our older shows or join the Tech Timers Facebook group to talk with us all the time. We're going to take a commercial break. When we return, we have Mark's Mumble's Whiskey Review and a special holiday gadget event. We'll see you after the break. Tech Time Radio is brought to you today by Nutility, the platform that makes utility management seamless by selecting your service providers, splitting a single bill amongst roommates, and then shutting off your service when it's time for you to move out. Nutility reviews your preferences and sets up all the utilities for you. This provides you with the best local provider in your service area. It's much easier than splitting up your bills between roommates. No more late Larry not being able to get to you on time to make the payments, and no more Venmo charges or PayPal charges. One place to do your billing so that everybody pays on time. Now, how can you use this great service from Nutility, you ask? Well, you can absolutely get it now and get 3 months for free. That's correct. If you go to Nutility.com, again, it kind of sounds like utility, but it's Nutility.com. Use the tech code 3. And again, that's Nutility.com. Get your first 3 months for free using the code TECH3.
The segment we've been waiting all week for. Mark's Whiskey Mumble.
All right. Did you notice we came back with our original tagline there?
No,
you didn't. You don't like it as good as me yelling and screaming and the other stuff?
The one that you did previously was better.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Well, guess what today is? It's Electronic Greeting Day, November 29th, as we celebrate by sending e-cards to every person on our contact list that we haven't chatted with in over a year. Can you imagine that only 5% of Americans were on the social media networks in 2005? All right, Mark's Mumbles. JTS Brown is the whiskey preferred by fictional pool hustler Fast Eddie Felsen in the 1959 book, The Hustler. Its 1984 sequel, The Color of Money, and in the films based on them. Mark clearly enjoys nice bourbons, and sadly, most are quite expensive, and prices keep going up, kind of like gas. Mark is always on the hunt for less costly pours that are a decent drink. JTS Brown is one of the better values in bourbon. Classic bourbon notes throughout and enough proof to keep things interesting makes this a no-brainer buy for anyone that enjoys whiskey. All right, Mark, thank you for those moments. All right, right now, we're going to transition into our Nathan's Gadgets for the holiday Christmas time.
And now, our Christmas special, Nathan's Gadgets to Grab.
Okay, listen to this. I got 3 things on Kickstarter that we're going to go through. I'm not going to be able to do it.
You got more than 3 things on Kickstarter. You're just going to talk about 3
We're
things.
just going to talk about 3 gadgets here. All right, first off, we're going to talk about the TechTime Cube. Now, this is a cube, and this is a cube that was talked about before. Gwen has brought it up. She hasn't talked about it as a gadget. We told her, nah, it's not that cool. But now that I did more research into it, I may have bought one. With over 600,000 of these things.
Don't tease. You did buy one.
Okay,
no, but you didn't may have bought one. You did buy one.
Okay, I bought one. All right, so this, with over 600,000 of these sold, this is essentially to help overcome procrastinators, master your time management, and boost your productivity. Now, the pledge goal was $1,280. They've raised over $100 and almost $200,000 for this goal with over 3,000 plus backers. There are 3 days to go. Essentially, what this time clock it does is it has preset timers in there for 20 minutes, 40 minutes, 60 minutes that you can count up to. And then if you want to count down or if you want to see how long it takes you to do something, all you got to do is flip over the cube to this left or right side or forward or back. And each time it does, it will add up the time that you're doing a task. So let's say you're doing a bunch of email and you want to see how long it does it. You can either track it manually or track it through an application, or you can just flip the clock on over and it will tell you each of these items. Perfect thing to get for the holiday deals. All you got to do is visit Kickstarter and type in TickTime, T-I-C-K time, and it's available for purchase. Now, my next thing. Have you ever needed to cut plastic, specifically PVC pipes, or you're going to laugh at me, plexiglass?
I am laughing.
Okay, plexiglass is the hardest thing to cut. You got to use a straight line edge. You got to use this device. It has to go down. You got to make sure you scar it. Then you have to make sure you do it like 20 times with the tool. And then you got to make sure you're on the edge of what you do. And you have to hit it just right. Otherwise, it splits the plexiglass and you got to start over. Not anymore. Control AX, the premium ultrasonic cutter, will go up to 40,000 vibrations per second. Cuts plastic stronger. Will take care of everything you do. On the eco mode, you can cut leather and paperboard. On the secondary comfort mode, you can cut rubber, plastic, and wood. And on the power mode or the sports mode, you can cut carbon or any other wood product and high plastics. Now, there's 732 backers, 16 days to go. There's a goal set of 15,000. They have over 300,000 people like myself looking for a solution. All right, and last but not least, the Omni.
When are you going to cut?
I've done. I always need to cut plexiglass.
For
My
what?
wife's preschool needed to cut it. We need to do this. I've always plexiglass is something I cut all the time, and it is such a pain to do. You get one of these bad boys, and I watched the demo here, and this was like unbelievable.
Okay, because when you said that, I had this mental picture of you just wandering around your yard, randomly cutting plastic things.
Oh, plastic.
Yeah, like I'll try it on that.
Well, you know that would be fun too. But
well,
yeah,
I know you're going to do that. That's why the mental picture was there.
All right. Okay. Well, now last one. This is hilarious. This is the Omni Cube cut and maintain your own hair. A full service hair cutting system to kind of maintain your hair right at home.
Just like the Flowbee.
It sure is. It's the new version of the Flowbee. That was the easiest way to cut and maintain your hair with no compromises. Omni is the easy to use personal self-service haircut system with no compromises. Maintain your hairstyle as often as you like it at the comfort of your home with high quality results that keep you fresh and looking your best. Omni's utility patent pending design is the first of its kind to address for all haircutting needs. male or female. Whether your hair textures might be straight, wavy, curvy, or coil, it makes no difference because we're going to cut it all looking the same. Cutting and maintains your hair is just as easy as shaving in the morning. One quick pass around your head and you're ready to go. And yes, it works for everyone. Now,
don't work for
they
me.
have a pledge goal of $10,000. They've only raised $1,928. They only have 10 backers, and right now it is in jeopardy of not.
Are
being
you a
funded.
backer?
Well, you know what? There's always that
Are you
gift
going to
you
pity
want to
back
get.
them?
You know what? My uncle Tony, he's a great guy. He's got just about everything, but I can tell you what he doesn't have yet. He does not have an OmniQ to cut and maintain his own hair until this comes to me from Kickstarter. All righty. Well,
that works for people like me that don't have hair.
Well, I don't know. You got to see that. Go visit Kickstarter. Type in OmniCube, OMNO Cube. It is worth the comedic laugh just to do that itself. All right. Well, now we need to move into Mike's mesmerizing moment. So let's get ready to go into there.
This is Mike's mesmerizing moment, presented by Story Coffee. Visit storycoffee.com.
All right. My question for you, Mike. Do you see what my question is? My question is asking you, since China has been so successful at eliminating people with
eliminating
kids from having ADD and being able to have the problems with video games, why doesn't the United States do something like this?
What, limit screen time for user? Because first off, we don't live in a country where the government tells us what we have to do when we have to do it and can do that. So this is a governmental restriction that the U.S. does not and should not have. That does not mean to say that there are issues with gaming, and some of these issues, I don't know about myopia, but some of the other issues are definitely been connected to video game usage and addiction. So no, the USA should not try to control things the way China does, because first off, that would be a violation of our Constitution. And secondly, this doesn't, just because you restrict somebody from doing something doesn't mean that they don't do it anyway. Right? So I don't care how many reports come out that say, hey, if you do this, your child's going to be healthy. That really doesn't work for human behavior.
Okay. All right. So now my Apple devices, I can limit screen time for kids. I find that to be just another issue where it's just kind of parental control.
Yeah. Okay. So we've talked about parental controls before. What happens when you place parental controls on your child's devices? What do?
They try everything they can to break them, right?
They try to break them. And this is a sort of a normal thing. And we've talked about it with these things like what's that, TikTok, or not TikTok, but one of the other ones saying that they won't allow certain age groups to do this and whatever. The kids create different profiles in order to hop from one profile to the next one, right? Kids, not only kids, but humans do this all the time.
All right.
They're always finding ways around whatever restrictions or rules there are.
All right, that makes sense. Okay. All right. Well, now we're going to have to do our pick of the day for our GTS brown bottled 100 in bond, 100 proof, $13.99 bottle. What's your take on this so far, Mr. Gourdet?
This is a nice bourbon. The initial burn is not horrible, so it makes it tolerable for me anyway. And then the finish is tasty and smooth, so it's not a bad one. I'm going to give it a thumbs up.
You're going to give it a thumbs up? Okay. You know what? I find it to be really good also. I don't like the kick at the beginning, but I can live with that, especially for the $13 price point, because it is very smooth at the end. So I'm going to give it a thumbs up too. So I think that's 2 thumbs up. All right. Well, we're getting down to the end of our show today. Hopefully you enjoyed listening to that, listeners. If you want to hear more, you can always visit us at techtimeradio.com. You can click on Be a Caller and ask us a question on technology. Remember that science of tomorrow starts with the technology of today.
Thanks for joining us on Tech Time Radio. We hope that you had a chance to have that moment today in technology. The fun doesn't stop there. We recommend that you go to techtimeradio.com and join our fan list for the most important aspect of staying connected and winning some really great monthly prizes. We also have a few other ways to stay connected, including subscribing to our podcast on any podcast service, from Apple to Google and everything in between. We're also on YouTube, so check us out on youtube.com/techtimeradio, all one word. We hope you enjoyed the show as much as we did making it for you. From all of us at Tech Time Radio, remember, Mumm's the word. Have a safe and fantastic week.